Once upon a time, there lived a man who, like many others, found himself dissatisfied with his life. His relationship with his wife was strained, his children often disappointed him, and his work left him feeling unfulfilled. Despite the challenges he faced at home, he never imagined that his life was about to change in the most unexpected way. One day, a new colleague arrived at his workplace, and the moment he laid eyes on her, he was captivated. She was a beautiful, charming, and intelligent young woman who seemed to glide into his life with the grace of a swan. Although she, too, was married and experienced her own share of marital difficulties, there was something about her that drew him in like a moth to a flame. As they began to work together, he found himself falling deeply in love with her. It was a feeling he had been searching for outside of his family for so long, a connection he felt was missing in his relationship with his wife. He couldn't help but notice how her presence filled the void in his heart, and he started to attribute to her all the qualities he had always wanted to see in his spouse. Unbeknownst to him, she was also falling for him, not realizing that she was in love with an idealized version of him rather than the real person. To her, he embodied everything she had been longing for in her own marriage. They began to meet in secret, aware that their relationship could not remain hidden forever, but unable to resist the magnetic pull between them. As time passed and they grew closer, they naively believed that their love would shield them from the quarrels and disagreements that plagued their respective marriages. They found solace in each other's company at work, a welcome escape from the dull and loveless relationships that awaited them at home. However, as is often the case in life, cracks began to appear in their seemingly perfect union. Jealousy reared its ugly head, with her growing suspicious of his interactions with his wife, and him noticing her flirtatious behavior towards other colleagues. The fairy tale that had brought them together slowly began to unravel, and the intense feelings that once consumed them started to fade. It became clear that their relationship was built on an illusion, a fantasy they had each created to fill the voids in their lives. They had been so eager to find what they were missing that they had neglected to truly get to know one another, instead projecting their own desires and expectations onto each other. As the veil of infatuation lifted, they saw each other for who they really were, ordinary, flawed human beings. The realization dawned on them that their relationship was destined to follow the same path as their marriages. They would face the same arguments, misunderstandings, and the constant search for happiness elsewhere. It was a sobering thought that led them both to a moment of clarity. He returned home one day, his eyes open to the truth that his wife was not the villain he had made her out to be. He had simply forgotten how to communicate with her and appreciate her for who she was. Deciding to let go of his illusions, he made a conscious choice to love his wife as she truly was, flaws and all. Meanwhile, she came to understand that despite the challenges and the apparent dullness that had crept into her marriage, her love for her husband had never truly died. It had simply been buried beneath the surface, waiting to be rediscovered. From that moment on, she would often share a piece of wisdom with her friends. If you have parted ways with your loved one but cannot seem to forget them, your relationship has only ended halfway. You may have severed the visible ties that bind you, but the invisible bond, your feelings for that person, remains intact. And so they both embarked on a journey of rediscovery, learning to appreciate and nurture the love they had once taken for granted in their respective marriages. They realized that true happiness lies not in the pursuit of illusions, but in the acceptance and cherishing of the imperfect yet precious realities of their lives.